And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services, Talking Business, another episode of our video talks with bankers, insurance, customer service executives, digital marketers, researchers, and business educators. And representing our staff at CBSI, based in Harrison, New York, which provides insurance-based benefits to the credit card industry. Our team did a great job taking care of our clients and their customers during this COVID-19 period. And we are very pleased to have a good friend join us today, who is a frequent speaker of the Direct Marketing Club of New York, and will be leading a webinar on Wednesday night for the club, talking about marketing forecasts, and so much has happened. We chatted with Bruce in January. So I'd like to introduce the senior managing partner of the Winterberry Group based in New York, and that is Bruce Biegel. Bruce, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Good to speak to you again, Ken. Seems like it was a very long time ago, January.
So much has happened since we spoke. When you were talking in January, when you gave your annual presentation to the Direct Marketing Club in New York, we were talking about direct-to-consumer marketing, experiential marketing, data analytics, and so many other things, growth of video, artificial intelligence. But the world changed around the second week of March. I kind of posted March 12th when COVID-19 epidemic really started to shut down American industry. What has the last couple of months been like for you? What have been some of the keys that you've seen?
Well, I think starting off, I flew back from London the night of the 12th. And that really started my exile from New York. I have been down in Miami. We have offices in New York, Miami, and London. I would say the last few months have been when it was a realignment and adjustment to working differently. We are frequently on the road every single week. So that first was for us to realign. We watched our clients go through a realignment and a reset. And I would say that period was March 15th, right around to the third week of April. As companies tried to come to grips with a completely different environment where much of the economy was shut down and a lot of marketing just turned off. Yet at the same time, other parts accelerated. So I would say that was the first phase. And I think the second phase was really thinking about, we've got to get work done, and we've got to think about how we're going to be different. How will we work differently? How are our clients going to work differently, during this time of COVID?
We talk about realignment. As you said, March 12th. I think when the NBA shut down, it caused everything else to examine what they should do. And so many industries shut down: retail, airlines, car rentals, so many of the travel and entertainment, local retail, and also restaurants. How have you seen companies adjust to the conditions? Some companies and some industries have done better than others.
Yeah, so I think some of the industries that have done better, CPG. So obviously, if you were in grocery, if you were in fast-moving consumer goods, you had an audience that moved home and stopped going out. And so if you remember, toilet paper shortages and meat being out, so that sector has done well. Over the counter in the pharmacy and then healthcare sector has done well. B2B, if you were at enterprise, not small business, but if you marketed to enterprise held up surprisingly well. Obviously, I'll turn off the phone. Obviously, the segments like travel, which was down 90% at one point. Experiential. So one of the things that we looked at and said, all right, at the beginning of the year, we really felt that in-person experiences were going to continue with that blend of in-person and digital. Obviously, everything in person shut down, and now we're rethinking how we shift to digital. The other area that's done very well, we've already been watching that shift to advanced television, which would be connected TV, OTT, addressable TV, and away from linear. And obviously with the cancellation of sports, with the cancellation of the Olympics, with people staying at home and frankly watching the news hour after hour, there was a big shift in viewing behavior. So viewing went way up, but not all of it was good for advertising. And at the local level, we felt that there was real compression because your local auto dealers, your local restaurants, all of that local infrastructure, they just shut down. So they turned off their advertising. So even more challenging was the local market than the national market.
And one of the things that we noticed advisors saying right away was that advertisers needed to shift their messaging immediately to reflect the new reality of COVID-19. Some were able to do that with new messaging. And then also others, especially on the smaller business side, who were able to stay open, those who were eventually able to do like takeout restaurants, needed to get their message and be able to communicate directly to their customers. Did you see success in that, or is it just really the big companies that had the opportunity to do that?
I think for a while it was just the large companies. The smaller companies, look, ultimately spending advertising dollars was very challenging, even in the takeout business. So I think that was more of a pause. Depending on where you were in the country, I think that's the other issue. Some states closed later than others. Some states opened earlier than others. So the timing was a little shifted. When we think about it, the biggest hit to the market was mid to late March through around that third week of April. And all of a sudden, you got to the third week of April and some of the states started opening up and some of the advertising spend started to return, but very slowly. And so it was more of a challenge. Picking, you couldn't pick winners. You had to kind of look at it on a state-by-state basis. And you had to make sure it's great to advertise, but can I get my products to my customer? If you think about even Amazon, with some of the product delays they had, if you weren't a critical product, it got delayed and put behind something else. I had a TV remote that I needed, 6 weeks to get it delivered. Wasn't critical. It was a second TV, but it was things like that. So I think we saw changes there. I think you saw big changes in apparel. People aren't going out. And I think we're still feeling some of those changes, but ultimately commerce ramped and people changed their buying behaviors. And we think that this is probably systemic and not cyclical. That certain products, if you get used to ordering your pet food in, chances are you're just going to continue doing that rather than going to the store. But other things, you really need that store-based environment.
And this week in New York, we're starting to see some opening up of businesses, some people returning to work at different levels, both in the suburban area and in New York City. What are the keys in communications for businesses as they open? Do you see in their communication needs to re-engage with their customers?
So I think there's two things. One, the first stakeholder that you need to work with are your employees. Are we going to bring them back? How are we bringing them back? When are we bringing them back? Even if our office is designed in such a way that we can maintain social distancing and the other rules, getting to work, commuting. If you were to commute from Harrison to the city, you're going to take a train, then you're going to get on the subway. So understanding that comes first. Second is, all right, how do we communicate with our customers? We've seen email increase significantly. All digital communications are up. Email, SMS, retargeting, on display ads, video. So we've seen an increase in digital communications. So I think we are that much further down that digital first. We'll never be digital only, but we're a lot further along on digital first. This is probably a catalyst that will kick us, 2 years ahead of where we would have been.
And certainly accelerating everything digital, the growth in Zoom. We're doing this interview on Zoom today. Now, just if you would, what are some of the things that members in the Direct Marketing Club of New York and those who tune in on Wednesday night at 5 p.m., what are some of the points that you're going to highlight?
I think we'll talk about what happened in the second quarter. This 90 days will be some of the toughest and maybe worse than 2008, 2009, because it happened so suddenly. So one, we believe we bottomed and we're starting to return. It's not going to be some straight V back up. There are going to be bumps along the way. When the PPP money runs out, we may look at and see another wave of layoffs, but right now we're starting that rehiring process. So you have to think about an uneven economy, but one that will generally be in the direction upwards across all the verticals. But each vertical has to be treated as unique. What will happen in travel is different than what's going to happen in apparel, which is different than what might happen in auto. So different verticals will come back at a different pace. And you have to really think through what's the right message, what's the right communication for that product into that vertical. So I think that's going to be pretty important. I think one of the other things that we saw is people got out of mail. Direct mail took a very, very big hit in the second quarter, specifically in April and into May. But that leaves an empty mailbox, which we think does create an opportunity for those who do come back into direct mail. However, the way people are consuming content right now and the way they're consuming advertising is still going to be heavily digitally focused.
For those of us who are working at home, and that's a lot of us, receiving the mail each day is a positive moment, and so that's a factor. As more of us, as I said, the numbers of people who are going to continue working at home may dramatically increase for the balance of the year in the future years. Bruce Biegel, tell us, if you would, just a little bit about your company and the services that you provide.
Winterberry Group is a specialty management consulting shop. We are headquartered in New York. We have offices in Florida, and we have people in London as well. We focus on growth strategy for advertisers and marketers, publishers. We work on data and technology, digital transformation, and we work for private equity investors who invest in this sector. And we are, that would be the snapshot.
Well, we appreciate that, and you've been such a key member of the Direct Marketing Club of New York, providing an annual analysis of marketing, communication, spending, and the economy, and a forecast. And you'll do it again on Wednesday night of this week, June 17th at 5 p.m. Information is available at the Direct Marketing Club of New York website, DMCNY.org. We'll put a link to it. And Bruce, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today on our CBSI Talking Business series.
Ken, thank you very, very much. Looking forward to Wednesday night.
We do too. Thank you so much again. And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business, for our team based in Harrison, New York, serving the consumer banking industry with insurance-based benefits and customer service management. And I always want to shout out to our team that's done a great job for our clients and customers during this COVID-19 period. So thank you to Bruce Biegel of the Winterberry Group. He'll be talking to the Direct Marketing Club of New York Wednesday night, June 17th at 5 p.m. Virtually, and we'll look forward to that. So for all of us at CBSI Services, this is Ken Kraetzer. Have a great day, everybody.